How's it going, everybody? This is your Astrology Horoscope for February 19th, 2024. I'm astrologer Skyles, and welcome to the Moon Base. Hope you guys had a great weekend. I fell super ill this weekend, so I'm starting to come out of it. I'm still quite brain foggy, had a crazy fever, all kinds of shit. So I know a lot of people are getting weird illnesses right now, and it's like very strange, very random, very quick. So I hope you guys are feeling well and healthy in this Pisces season now. So now that we're in Pisces season, and this Chiron North Node conjunction's happening today, and this Moon in Cancer all at once, I really think that the focus of where we're at in time right now and how far we've come, especially through the intensity of this Aquarius season and this Pluto energy, and it's just been such a wild ride. So the energy is going to start to go inward a little bit, right? Aquarius is very, very outward. So now we can start to go inward a little bit, focus more on the healing, and take steps towards actually getting to know ourselves a little better spiritually. We still have Mars and Venus and Mercury and Aquarius, so we still have that energy going as well. So, it's a mixed bag coming into Pisces season. But I think with this North Node Chiron conjunction happening today, and exactly at the exact time that that's happening, the Moon in Cancer is going to be trining over to Saturn in Pisces. So, I really think there's a lot of gunk that needs to be cleaned out of the gutters here. A lot of things that need to be addressed, especially on the home front, familial matters. And I think it's been, kind of a question of where does this pain come from? Where does this suffering come from? Well, I think looking at this Chiron North Node, it's pretty clear. At the exact time that this is happening, with the Moon in Cancer, it's pretty clear that it's coming from a lot of the places where we don't feel secure, where we don't feel comfortable, like where we're connected to our families, or just that place of security. That can really affect our selves and our egos and our identities in a very deep way that's, we've been battling and fighting, but now we can start to gain more awareness towards. And today is a day where it's almost like ripping off the Band-Aid just to really get down to the core of the truth and face this. This Moon trining Saturn is we've put in a lot of effort towards getting to a better spiritual place, to have more security in our lives and be more secure and have a better spiritual connection to our families. But how have you been focusing on yourself? How much have you given away to others to where you've totally lost yourself and forgotten who you are, which can really be quite damaging in a lot of ways. With the South Node Libra, that's the message. And this Chiron opposing the South Node, it's where have you given yourself away? And that could be in any situation, because if you've given yourself away too much, you can really lose that sense of security, and that spiritual strength with this Saturn in Pisces, and what Saturn in Pisces is teaching us. And the Sun in Pisces and Saturn too, that's what this Pisces season is really going to be all about. Especially once the Sun gets closer to Saturn, we're going to see Mercury be there as well. So There's a lot of spiritual messages coming through here in this Pisces season. And it's kicking off with this Chiron North Node. So, we're ripping off the Band-Aid, finally. It seems like collectively and individually, I know personally, and a lot of people that I'm surrounded by, there's common threads in the personal conversations we're having around these kinds of things. And it really comes down to just wanting to actually just get to the truth and not brush it off. We've been brushing things off for far too long now. And a lot of what I've noticed is just the same cycles playing out over and over and over. And today is the day where we can start to feel like we're ready to not play these cycles out over and over and over. And I think too, like there's a lot of blessings as well with this moon sextiling over to Jupiter as this is happening too. Like there's an abundant amount of blessings here coming through. If we're willing to just rip off the Band-Aid and have the conversation and say, hey, like, this is really we gotta find some common ground here, and when we can do that, we can be much better for ourselves. And when we can be much better for ourselves, we can be much better spiritually. We can be much better in a familial sense, have much healthier relationships, and have a much more powerful manifestation ability, and this is the difficult part, is that there's so many aspects connected to this Chiron North Node that it's like it really comes down to ourselves and our individual selves and our egos. And it's like, are we willing to rip off the Band-Aid and rip off the false identities and masks and egos that we've been wearing for so long? Like today's the day where it seems like we're willing to, step into that new place of your true self. I think that's really where we're going to find ultimate healing in this story here. And when we're willing to rip off the masks and stop playing out these old cycles, then we can start evolving as individuals, so we can be better for the relationships that we do want in our lives, and the relationships we do have in our lives, have a much healthier spiritual life, have a much healthier family life, and so on. I mean, it's pretty interesting that at the same time, like as we come into the evening, this moon in Cancer is going to square over to this Chiron North Node. And it's really going into Tuesday, but I think it's relevant to talk about now because it's like, there's so much kind of emotional, watery energy as this Chiron North Node is happening, but it's like the real tension, like, is going to play out as we move throughout the day with this moon in Cancer here. And it could be a very emotional day. It could be a very emotional day, and sometimes just being willing to just take it all off, admit your faults, admit where you've been wrong, can be very painful. And I think that's what this moon in Cancer today is really asking us to do, is to just take it all off, tear it all off, and not be stuck in the same patterns, not be stuck in the same place, right? We want to finally get to a place where we can be better on all walks of life, and not be just caught in the same old ego patterns that we've kind of been playing out for a while, for a long time. And this Venus Mars is getting really close here, so. And definitely when it comes to these masculine, feminine issues that we're also feeling inside, it's like, this also brings up a lot of those issues as well. It's like where in our relationships have, the roles have shifted. How have the roles shifted in our relationships? Is that right? Is that wrong? There is no right or wrong here, but it's like as the roles are kind of shifting in our relationships, maybe that can be tough to admit at the same time, and definitely like the roles of different kinds of relationships in your life. It's just really like prioritizing what's more important within our relationships. So, yeah, this moon in Cancer is really bringing up a lot of heavy emotions today with this North Node Chiron. So, we just really have to be willing to take it off and not be stuck in the same patterns and the same loops over and over that we've kind of been going through. It's just, I think in this Pisces season now too, as the Sun and Saturn get closer together, there's so many spiritual lessons that are coming through here now. And with the Sun, Saturn, Mercury conjunction that we know is coming on here by the 28th, there's a lot of messages, a lot of spiritual messages coming through. So we want to be paying attention to the synchronicities that are starting to show up in our reality more than ever. And that's one thing I love about Pisces season is the synchronicities get very, very strong. The Neptune energy gets so strong. And then we'll have the Sun-Neptune conjunction here towards the end of Pisces season. And then we'll have Venus-Neptune conjunction, which, spiritually we're evolving very quickly here. And definitely our connection to spirit and our connection to source and where that kind of is compartmentalized in our reality is being kind of reorganized in a way and reprioritized in our lives in this Pisces season. So I definitely think that with this North Node Chiron today, I think the message coming through is that, we can really evolve spiritually in a much more healthier way if we're willing to just rip the Band-Aid off and not be afraid to just, if you got to fall to your knees and just say, hey, this is what it's been. This is who I am. Let me just lay it all out for you. I think that's a much better route to take than just trying to hold up the walls and hold up the ego and let the external world be, or you try to convince the external world by you putting on some physical appearance that really no one else really looks at and takes serious. That's kind of what this North Node Chiron is all about, So, we can feel a little weak. We can feel a little wounded, definitely quite emotional today. But it's necessary to get to a much more better spiritual place, and then really focusing on this healing aspect of this Pisces season and this Chiron North Node, I think is the most important thing right now going into this Pisces season, because going into Aries season, when we start the new cycle and we got the eclipses, shit's going to get really intense. So we definitely want to be resting a lot more, doing more inward work in this Pisces season, coming to much better, healthier, common places in our relationships and within ourselves with these nodes here. I mean, and these eclipses are going to activate this North Node Chiron in a much more intense way too, but this is where it starts, and then come April, we're going to start to really see how karmically this stuff's going to play out. Right? So, and how that's really going to change our lives. Because these eclipses are going to be massively groundbreaking in our lives. Big time. So, we definitely want to be just being honest. We want to be as honest as we possibly can right now and not be caught in the same patterns and caught in the same loops. You know, and if you're feeling weak, you're feeling a little slow, like I am right now for sure. My brain is ultra slow right now. You want to be resting as much as possible. You know, the 12th house and Pisces and Neptune is all about, you know, taking time for a little bit of rest, right? So I pulled the Lover's card today. So, you know, as painful as things can seem right now, as difficult as things can seem right now, I feel like loving each other, loving one another, loving yourself is the only way to find real healing in this time. This is a very difficult transit to go through. Chiron North Node is not an easy place to be, especially with this moon in Cancer today. Like, this is very emotional, very difficult. And it's not easy to just be willing to rip off the mask and be as honest as you can about where you stand and what you've been going through and, you know, where you've been wrong, you know, where you have kind of put on a false identity, where you haven't been so honest. I think it's a really important place to, you know, be in that place of love and not be caught in that South Node Libra where it's just like the illusion of love through just different kinds of relationships and pleasing people. You know, that's not necessarily always love, you know, the codependency aspect. It's more of, you know, filling your own unconscious, deep psychological trauma, right? So I think when we can really get to that place of being totally, fully honest about what these things are, we can really find what the meaning of true love is. And I think that's what we're all searching for in this lifetime, is what does that truly mean? So, because there's many versions of that and many variations of that, and even the BS that we have been fed through our Disney movies of love and, you know, all that kind of shit. So it's like breaking all those habits, breaking all those illusions. And even you think about it in that way, it's like how much of that programming has built up these identities that have probably caused trauma in our personal lives and in ourselves and in our relationships. You know, think about that as well, being connected to this North Node Chiron. That's another place to go with it. It's like, you know, think about the programming that we've all gone through from many places, and how that is affecting our personal realities. So being willing to just tear it all down, you know, strip it all naked, right? And just say, this is what it is and this is who I am. And, you know, not being afraid to just be honest about where we all want to go together in our relationships collectively to find a better healing space for us to be in. So I think this is a pretty beautiful way to kick off Pisces season. Definitely quite intense, and definitely a different vibe from what Aquarius season was, right? So Aquarius season was the most rapid fire roller coaster I think I've felt yet, you know. And now that we have no planets in Capricorn, it's hard to find stability, in a way, in many ways. But, you know, if you want to find love, you want to find that place of love and find that place of stability and comfort, it is getting down to just being honest about this North Node Chiron and whatever that experience is for you. It's, you know, it's different for everybody. So anyways, I wish you all the best, and I hope you guys have a lovely Monday, and I will see you guys on Tuesday. Peace out.